A diagonal matrix has its main diagonal with non-zero elements and all other elements are mostly zero. So its main diagonal will have a non-zero element, and if we see that there are some cases in which the off diagonal elements are sometimes non-zero. In general, we consider a diagonal matrix in which the main diagonal is non-zero and the off main diagonal elements are zero. So a diagonal matrix is represented by the symbol D like this, and any element Dij is equal to 0 for I not equal to j, and Dij not equal to 0 for I equal to j. So let us see an example of this. Example is D equals to say a 3 by 3 matrix 1 0 0 0 2 3 0 0 minus 1. So you can see that the main diagonal elements are non-zero while the off diagonal elements are 0, except the case of the element 3 here. So a very good example of diagonal matrix is identity matrix. So I3 is a diagonal matrix whose value is 1 0 0 0 1 0 and 0 0 1. So this can be represented sometimes as 1 1 1, then here we consider 0. So it means that this is a diagonal matrix with diagonal values as 1. So suppose we are given a vector small v, and with the vector value we have to convert it into a diagonal matrix. So suppose small v equal to v1 v2 like that up to vn. So I can write it in transpose. Then a diagonal matrix with these vector elements can be written as diag v. It means that the diagonal matrix D, it has the value like that. This is v1, this is v2 up to vn, and here all 0. And if I want to find the inverse of this diagonal matrix, then straightforward you can find a diagonal matrix with the diagonal elements as inverse of the original elements like this, up to 1 by vn. So this is the inverse of the original diagonal matrix. Another interesting fact, suppose I have diag v, its atomic product with vector x. This is equal to v1 v2 like that up to vn. This both sides are 0, and I am multiplying with x1 x2 up to xn. Then this is equal to v1 x1 plus v2 x2 like that up to vn xn. So naturally this is a scalar number because this is a single quantity. This is scalar. Let us consider next the unit vectors. You may be knowing the meaning of unit vectors, a vector with magnitude unity, but let us understand it from our perspective. So unit vector. So vector whose L2 norm is unity is a unit vector. So suppose x is a vector, then the L2 norm, that is the Euclidean norm, is equal to 1, implies that x is a unit vector. So let us consider example of 3 element vector 0 0.6, 0 0.8, 0. So its L2 norm for x is root of 0.6 square, 0.8 square plus 0 square. This is equal to 1. So this vector x is a unit vector. Eigen values and eigen vectors. So sometimes you must have learned about eigenvalues and eigenvectors, but let us understand in the beginning before going to depth of the mathematical intricacies of determining the eigenvalues and eigenvector for a given matrix. What is this exactly? So eigenvectors are the vectors upon which the matrix operation does not change its direction and there is possible change in the magnitude. It means, suppose I have a three-dimensional vector space. Suppose vector x in the direction of x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. We have vector x, vector y, vector z, and we have a resultant vector, say p, vector p, which is k1 multiplied by vector x, then k2 multiplied by vector y, then k3 multiplied by vector z. So this p is a combination of these three vectors, or I can say that p is a linear combination of a unit vector in the direction of x, or a unit vector in the direction of y, or a unit vector in the direction of z. And now suppose I do a matrix operation over this vector. So then exactly what will happen, that because p I can represent as k1, k2 and k3 is a vector, and if I am doing a matrix operation on this vector p, and it happens that p is rotated by 90 degree, in that case the value of p will not change, but any other vector which is at an angle with p, whatever be the vector, that will change in its magnitude and direction. So in that matrix operation over p, we see that neither the direction nor the value of p has changed. So I can say that this p is multiplied by 1 because the magnitude has neither changed nor its value has changed. Similarly, there is an example in which such a vector p on matrix operation increases in length. So suppose here I have coefficient 2 multiplied by 2. Again, all other vectors will be impacted in magnitude and direction, but p will be impacted only by magnitude, and there will not be any change in the direction of vector p. In that case, I say that p P is the eigenvector of the matrix A. So for a matrix A of n dimension, for a matrix A of order n by n, if the matrix has independent rows and columns, then there is possibly to the most n eigenvectors of A. So these eigenvectors can be p1, p2, like that up to pn. So let us consider one such eigenvector of A as v1. So in that case, matrix operation on v1 will result in some scalar change or scaling of the vector v1, which is the one of the eigenvectors of A. Similarly, we can have several eigenvectors of A such that A multiplied by the eigenvectors v1, v2, like that up to vn will result in a diagonal matrix lambda, which will form this kind of equation. So the speciality of eigenvector lies in the fact that the eigenvector of a square matrix A is a non-zero vector V, such that the multiplication of V by A, that is v1, v2, vn, like that by A, will result in scaling of A by certain scalar values, which are basically the eigenvalues of A. So depending upon the each unique eigenvalue of A, there will be a separate eigenvector for A. So this we can write as A V equals to lambda V, where lambda is a diagonal matrix. And V is a eigenvector matrix for A, that is the all possible eigenvectors for A. Now suppose this is a diagonal vector, or if this is a diagonal matrix, then I have an identity matrix such that A V equal to lambda into I into V. So I can write this V as capital V to avoid any confusion. So I can write A capital V equals to capital lambda, or I can write it as capital lambda. Capital lambda is written like this. This is a diagonal matrix. I is a diagonal matrix. Then capital V is again a matrix. So in that case, we can take V in common. So I can write A minus capital lambda I in common into V equal to 0. So here it is very clear that b is not equal to 0. So we have to solve the equation for b, which is the system of equations. Then a minus lambda I should be definitely 0. So this 0 means this has to be the of the form determinant. So we can understand that this diagonal matrix is diag the vector lambda 1, lambda 2 up to lambda n transpose. So with this we understand that the eigenvectors are defined for a given matrix in the form of column matrices, and which are determined again from the unique eigenvalues of the matrix, which are basically the roots of the characteristic equation, this one. So the idea of finding out the eigenvalues and then obtaining the eigenvectors for a matrix will be understood. So this concept helps us in understanding the diagonalization of matrices also. So let us understand diagonalization of matrices. So in several applications of linear algebra, we need to transform the matrix, suppose A, into another form B, where A and B are of the form like this, where A is A11, A12 up to n columns, so A1n, this will go up to n rows, so n comma 1, a n comma 2, like that, n comma n. So this is of the form of a square matrix, and again we are trying to transform A into B. So B11, this is of the form of a diagonal matrix, B22 up to Bnn 0 0 n by n. So this is called the diagonalization of the matrix A. So A is diagonalized into B. So diagonalization helps us in solving linear system equations. So the method of diagonalization involves finding out the eigenvalues, eigenvectors, then these eigenvectors are again left eigenvectors, right eigenvectors, and based on this we transform a matrix from its normal form, sometimes also called as canonical form, into the diagonal form. In case of eigenvector operated through a matrix, its result should be a scalar change of the eigenvector. Then we can always write A minus lambda I into V equal to 0, and this is same as lambda I minus A into V equal to 0. So we have to find out the roots of the characteristic equation found by this matrix through its determinant, because vector v is not equal to 0. So let us take the example of vector a with 0 1 0 as the first row, 3 0 2 as the second row, and minus 12 minus 7 minus 6 as the third row. So writing it in the form of lambda I minus a, we can find that this is equal to lambda 0. This is then the vector A matrix A is subtracted from it. So 0 1 0, 3 0 2, and minus 12 minus 7 minus 6 will be subtracted from it. So we can write it as vector lambda minus 1 0 minus 3 lambda minus 2 and 12 7 lambda plus 6. So once we take the determinant of this, we can have determinant of lambda minus 1 0 minus 3 lambda minus 2 12 7 lambda plus 6 equal to 0. So I advise the viewers to please pause the video and try the problem yourself, so that you can understand the nitty-gritty of the problem while solving it in real time on pen and paper, with pen and paper. So this is same as if I expand along the first row. So this is lambda minus 2 7 lambda plus 6 minus 1, so minus 3. Please recap your understanding of solving determinants if you are not very comfortable with this, so that we can save some time. So I'm breaking the determinants and making it simple. So eventually you get lambda cube plus 6 lambda square plus 11 lambda plus 6. Now is the time to factorize it. So we have to use the trial and error method if you are doing manually. So you try lambda equals to minus 1, whether this to solve or not. So if lambda plus 1 is a root of this polynomial, then the remainder should be 0. So I put minus 1 cube plus 6 minus 1 whole square plus 11 minus 1 plus 6. So polynomial becomes 0, so it means that lambda plus 1 is a factor. So lambda plus 1 is a factor of, say this is a polynomial or function in lambda equals to lambda cube plus 6 lambda square plus 11 lambda plus 6. Now, so I factorize it taking lambda plus 1 from lambda cube. So this is minus lambda square will come out. So I am adding that to 6 lambda square, it will become 5 lambda square plus 11 lambda plus 6 equal to 0. Again trying to factorize it. So this is lambda square. I am trying to factorize it lambda plus 1 lambda square plus again lambda plus 1 then I have the 5 lambda, so this should be minus 5 lambda plus 11 lambda should be 6 lambda. If I take lambda plus 1, 6 should come like this. So therefore I get lambda plus 1 as a factor, and then lambda square plus 5 lambda plus 6 equal to 0. It means that lambda plus 1, lambda square plus 2 lambda plus 3 lambda plus 6 equal to 0 implies that lambda plus 1, then factor is lambda plus 2, then the factor is lambda plus 3. So you can solve it with patience to get the roots. Lambda 1 is minus 1, lambda 2 is minus 2, and lambda 3 is minus 3. So we know that these three are the eigenvalues which are distinct. So therefore we can find out the eigen vector matrix V equals to V1, V2 and V3, and these all three are column vectors, column matrices I mean. So these three are column vectors of eigenvector matrix V. So we can find out V1, V2 and V3 one by one. So what I should do, first let us write it very clearly that V1 is the column vector V11, V21 and V31, then V2 is V12, V22, because the column is fixed and rows are changing, so we have V32, then we have vector V3, so we have V13, V23 and V33. So here we can say that Vi can be obtained through the cofactors of lambda I minus A matrix in such a way that V colon comma I equals to Ck comma colon. Means you are obtaining the elements of vector V along the column through the cofactors of a given row. So where K is any row of the matrix lambda I minus A. So we can say that an eigenvector can be estimated from the cofactors of any row, say kth of lambda I. So I should take here, for each lambda I have to consider lambda I minus A for the eigenvalue, for the eigenvalue lambda I. So in this case let us obtain eigenvectors for row 1 of lambda I capital I minus a, and we have Cij cofactor in terms of minor. We can write Ci plus minus 1 power I plus j mi comma j. So let us start one by one. For lambda 1 equals to minus 1, we should find out lambda 1 I minus a. This is definitely equal to, if you see the vector over there, we have lambda minus 1 0, minus 3 lambda minus 2, and 12 7 lambda plus 6. So if you put the value over here, you will get minus 1 0, then minus 3 minus 1 minus 2, then 12 7 5. So we start with the elements of V1, so we can definitely write your V11 equals to C11. I am taking the cofactors along the first row of lambda I minus a. So for all the three cases I will repeat the same. However, you can take cofactor along any of the rows. So result will be same without any change. So I can write for C11. So I have to see that this row and these columns should be removed for C11. So this becomes this minus 1 plus power 1 plus 1. So this result becomes minus 5 plus 12 equals to 9. Similarly, V21 equals to C12. So this is equal to minus 1 power 1 plus 2. So here I am focusing on this. So I have to take this, and this. So definitely this should be minus 3 minus 2 and 12 and 5. So here it becomes minus 1 then multiplied by minus 15. 15 plus 25. Sorry, this is 24. So this becomes minus 9. So similarly, V31 is C13 equal to minus 1 power 1 plus 3. So this becomes minus 3 minus 1 12 7. So that is equal to minus 9. So we have V1 here equals to 9 minus 9 minus 9. So we can write it in a simple way because the constant, that is scalar multiple, can be removed. So this becomes V1. In the same way, we can find out V2 and V3. So for lambda 2 equals to minus 2, you have lambda 2I minus a. This is equal to minus 2 minus 1 0, minus 3 minus 2 minus 2, and 12 7 4. So therefore you have V12 equals to C11 equals to minus 1 power 1 plus 1. Then again, first element I'm looking here, so I should be available with minus 2 and 7 4. So this is equal to minus 8 plus 14 equals to 6. Similarly, you can find V22 equal to C12. This is equal to 12. I advise you to calculate it so that you can see how it comes. 1 3, and this is equals to 3. So therefore we have v2 equals to 6 minus 12 and plus 3. This is same as 2 minus 4 and 1. Similarly, we can find out for lambda 3 equals to minus 3, we have lambda 3I minus A equals to minus 3 minus 1 0, minus 3 minus 3 minus 2 12 7 and 3. So I advise you to have a pause of the video and do it patiently so that you should not commit any mistake, because when you are finding eigenvectors there should not be a change of sign, because that will reflect to the change of direction which is not correct. So here we have plus 1 minus 3 minus 2 7 and 3. So from that we get 5. Similarly v23 equals to c12 equals to minus 15, and v33 equals to c13 equals to 15. So from here we get v3 equals to 5 minus 15 and 15. So this is equal to 1 minus 3 and 3. So therefore we can find out the eigenvector matrix, which is same as V, and this is equal to V1 is 1 minus 1 minus 1, and V2 is 2 minus 4 1, and V3 is 1 minus 3 minus 3. You can find out similar other situation when the eigenvalues are real but not distinct. So what is the attempt in that case? Because when it is same, we differentiate the values in the matrix lambda I minus A. So if we get time, someday I will discuss that parameter also. But here I mean to say that this vector V is very much useful in linear algebra, especially for decomposition of vectors, so that we can find out the diagonal form of the vector, as well as it helps us in getting the inverse of the matrix. So there are situations when we cannot find out the inverse of a matrix when this is not a square, but in that case the decomposition of the matrix through this approach of eigenvalue and eigenvector and then finding the inverse, which is called a pseudo inverse, is very useful, because in computer solutions we need to find out the inverse of the matrices to solve the problems for different variables. So therefore this approach is very much useful, and this is a long process as you will experience if you solve it step by step. So in computers this is done in nanoseconds time, so this process is very simple through computers.